If you're watching this, chances are you've experienced something that feels almost paradoxical. You've done the inner work. You've awakened to higher consciousness. You understand energy, manifestation, and the interconnectedness of all things. Yet somehow financial abundance continues to elude you. You might find yourself caught in a strange liminal space, too conscious for the old paradigm of chasing money without regard for ethics or impact, yet not quite able to bridge the gap to sustainable prosperity that aligns with your awakened values. This isn't a failure on your part. This is the sacred tension of transformation. And today, we're going to explore why so many spiritually awakening souls find themselves in financial struggle, and more importantly, how to navigate this with grace and understanding. Carl Jung spoke extensively about the collective unconscious, that deeper layer of the psyche that we all share, filled with archetypal patterns and collective memories. Within this collective unconscious lies what Jung called the shadow. All the aspects of human experience that have been rejected, denied, or pushed into darkness. Money carries an enormous collective shadow. For centuries, spiritual traditions have created a false dichotomy between material wealth and spiritual purity. We've inherited stories that equate poverty with virtue, that suggest true spiritual people must suffer financially to prove their devotion to higher purposes. This collective programming runs so deep that even as awakened individuals, we carry unconscious beliefs that wealth somehow compromises our spiritual integrity. The collective shadow whispers, "Good people don't have money. Money is the root of all evil. You can't serve both God and mammon." When you begin to awaken spiritually, you become more sensitive to these collective patterns. Your expanding consciousness picks up on the pain and suffering that has been associated with money throughout human history. The exploitation, the greed, the inequality. Your soul rejects participating in systems that feel misaligned. But the rejection often extends to money itself rather than just the corrupted systems around it. Here's something most spiritual teachers don't tell you. Your nervous system might be actively working against your financial abundance, and it's doing so to protect you. Your nervous system is an ancient, primal intelligence that's primarily concerned with survival. It's constantly scanning for threats and making split-second decisions about what's safe and what's dangerous. When you've experienced financial trauma, whether in this lifetime or carried through generational patterns, your nervous system develops protective strategies. For many awakening souls, financial success triggers what's called a success syndrome in the nervous system. As you begin to experience more abundance, your nervous system might interpret this as dangerous because it's unfamiliar. It might sabotage opportunities, create anxiety around money decisions, or generate guilt about having resources when others don't. This isn't conscious resistance. Your thinking mind might desperately want financial stability, but your nervous system is operating from a different set of priorities. It's saying, "I've kept you safe in scarcity for this long. Why would we risk changing now?" The awakening process itself can intensify this nervous system response. As you become more sensitive energetically, you become more aware of the emotional and psychic weight that money carries in our collective consciousness. Your system might choose financial struggle over the energetic burden of participating in misaligned financial exchanges. Perhaps nowhere is the shadow work around money more crucial than in examining the deep layers of shame that many of us carry. Shame is different from guilt. Guilt says, "I did something bad," while shame says, "I am something bad." Money shame often masquerades as spiritual superiority. We tell ourselves we're above material concerns, that we're too evolved to care about money. But beneath this spiritual bypassing often lies a deep well of unworthiness. I don't deserve abundance. There's something inherently wrong with me that prevents prosperity. If I were truly good, spiritual, worthy, resources would flow easily. This shame creates a double bind. We judge ourselves for wanting financial stability because spiritual people shouldn't care about money, and we judge ourselves for not having it because conscious people should be able to manifest abundance. The shame becomes a self-perpetuating cycle that keeps us stuck in financial struggle while convincing us it's somehow spiritually noble. Jung understood that what we resist in ourselves gets projected outward. If we carry shame around money, we'll often find ourselves judging wealthy people as spiritually inferior, greedy, or unconscious. This judgment creates an energetic barrier. We can't become what we secretly despise. One of the most confusing aspects of the spiritual journey is how periods of intense growth and healing can actually disrupt our material circumstances. You might notice that when you're doing deep inner work, your income becomes unstable, opportunities dry up, or financial challenges intensify. This isn't punishment from the universe, it's reorganization. When you're healing core wounds and shifting fundamental patterns, your entire energetic system is in flux. The ways you previously created security and income might no longer be available because they were built on foundations that you're now healing and transforming. Think of it like renovating a house while you're living in it. For a period of time, everything is chaotic, dysfunctional, and uncomfortable. But this temporary disruption is necessary for creating something more stable and beautiful. During healing crises, your soul is often calling you to release financial strategies that were based on old wounds, working from scarcity, overgiving to prove worthiness, or hustling from a place of unworthiness. These patterns might have generated some income, but they weren't sustainable or aligned with your true nature. The financial disruption during healing periods is often the universe's way of forcing you to find new, more authentic ways of creating abundance. It's an invitation to build your financial life on the foundation of who you're becoming rather than who you used to be. Most manifestation teachings focus on external techniques, visualization, affirmations, vision boards. But true financial transformation begins with cultivating inner safety. If you don't feel fundamentally safe in your own being, no amount of external abundance will ever feel like enough. Inner safety isn't about positive thinking or spiritual bypassing. It's about developing a deep, embodied sense that you belong here, that you're worthy of care and resources, and that the universe is fundamentally supportive of your existence. This inner safety must be built from the ground up, often healing layers of childhood wounds, ancestral trauma, and past life patterns that convinced you that you're not safe, not worthy, or not wanted. It requires befriending your nervous system and teaching it that abundance is safe, that visibility is safe, that receiving is safe. When you have genuine inner safety, your relationship with money transforms. You stop grasping for it out of fear and desperation. You stop pushing it away out of shame and unworthiness. You begin to relate to money as energy, neutral, flowing, and available for good. The path forward isn't about choosing between spiritual development and financial abundance. It's about integration, bringing your awakened consciousness into your relationship with money rather than keeping these aspects of life separate. This integration requires what Jung called holding the tension of opposites. You're learning to hold both spiritual values and material needs, both service to others and care for yourself, both detachment from outcomes and engagement with practical action. Integration means recognizing that money, like everything else in the physical realm, is a form of consciousness. It's energy that can be used for healing, service, and positive impact. Your awakened consciousness doesn't disqualify you from abundance. It qualifies you to use abundance wisely. When you begin to see money as a tool for your soul's expression rather than something that compromises your spiritual integrity, everything shifts. You can pursue financial goals from a place of service rather than neediness. You can receive abundance without guilt because you know you'll use it consciously. The work of healing your relationship with money isn't surface-level manifestation work. It's soul work. It requires courage to face the shadows you've inherited around worth, safety, and belonging. It asks you to challenge not just your personal beliefs about money, but the collective programming that says spiritual people must struggle financially. This is sacred work because it's about reclaiming your birthright as a spiritual being having a human experience. You didn't incarnate here to struggle and suffer. You came here to express your gifts, to serve your purpose, and to experience the full spectrum of what it means to be human, including the freedom that comes with financial stability. Your financial healing is not separate from your spiritual path. It's an essential part of it. When you heal your relationship with money, you're healing ancestral patterns, collective wounds, and creating new templates for future generations. As you begin this work, remember that healing happens in layers. Be patient with yourself as old patterns surface and new ways of being emerge. Your nervous system needs time to adjust to new levels of safety and abundance. Start by examining your earliest memories around money. What messages did you receive about worth, safety, and belonging? What patterns do you see repeating in your adult life? Work with your nervous system daily. Practice somatic techniques that help you feel safe in your body. Breathe into the places where you hold tension around money and receiving. Challenge the spiritual bypassing that keeps you stuck. Notice when you're using spiritual concepts to avoid practical action or to justify financial struggle. Most importantly, remember that you're not healing these patterns just for yourself. Every person who does this deep work around money and spirituality is contributing to the collective healing of these ancient wounds. You're part of the generation that's bridging the false divide between spirit and matter. The old paradigm says you must choose between spiritual fulfillment and material abundance. The new paradigm, the one you're helping to birth, says that your awakened consciousness is exactly what the world needs to heal our relationship with money and resources. Your financial challenges aren't evidence that you're doing something wrong. They're initiations, calling you to develop new levels of consciousness around worth, safety, and your right to exist abundantly on this planet. The sacred economy that's emerging needs conscious souls who understand both the spiritual and practical dimensions of abundance. It needs people who can hold wealth without losing their hearts, who can create prosperity while serving something greater than themselves. This is your invitation to step fully into this work, not as spiritual bypassing or positive thinking, but as deep, transformative soul work that honors both your human needs and your divine nature. Your abundance is not coming despite your spiritual awakening. It's coming because of it. The world needs awakened souls who are financially empowered to create the changes we all know are necessary. The question isn't whether you deserve abundance. The question is, are you ready to heal whatever is preventing you from receiving it? Your financial healing is holy work. Treat it as such and watch how the universe responds.